Hey friends, happy Friday to you. The second to last Friday of the entire year and our last marketing training of the entire year. I can't believe it. 2020, what a year, right? Here we are about to say goodbye to it, and we're gonna go out with a bang. We are talking about how to book more private pay clients in 2021. We have a lot of people planning to join us, so I am going to give you just a few moments to trickle in here on this Friday afternoon. I hope your day is winding down, and if you have any more clients, it's only a handful as you finish things out, and hopefully you're preparing for some well-deserved time off in the next couple of days. If you are joining me live, please say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. Like I said, lots of people planning to be here today. If this is your first time joining me, we've had a lot of new faces inside of the group as the holidays are coming around. A lot of people are thinking about marketing next year. Thanks for being here. My name's Anna Walker. I'm a web and marketing strategist, and I work with private practitioners, therapists, counselors, just like you, to get booked out doing what you love. And in order to fill your practice in a way that isn't just effective, because I want you to get booked out. I believe that you deserve to get booked out. And in this training, we're talking about how you deserve to get booked out at your full fee. But I also really want you to feel authentic in your marketing. It is so important that what you're putting out there feels real and right to you, because ultimately your clients are sensing that from you. They're connecting to you as a person. So being authentic in marketing is really important. You're going to find a lot of strategies out there, if you haven't yet, that don't make you feel good. And I always encourage you to turn away from those and instead turn towards those that feel true to you, true to the wonderful work that you do. So that's what I'm all about. Again, thank you so much for being here. As we get started, if I am talking about something or you have a thought or a question, please don't hesitate to put those in the comments. I will reserve the end for a Q&A if there are any items for us to discuss in depth. I want this to be super useful for you. Like I said, we're going out with a bang. I want to make sure that you get a ton of value out of this training. Interestingly, I put up a question this week about what you wanted this week's marketing training to be about, and there were a ton of great responses, a ton of great ideas for future trainings. But interestingly, the plan that I had, if I hadn't gotten a response to that, or if I hadn't posted it, was to talk about private pay, and in fact, that was what got the most votes. So here we are talking about private pay, something that I have talked to 4 different clients about just this week. It is a hot topic. Maybe next year you know that you want to become a full fee practice, or you are opening your practice and you're not planning to take insurance, or you're planning to get off panels. Wherever you are, private pay is on the brain, and I know that because I've been having those conversations with my clients. So as we get started, what's really important to me here is that we talk about not just what to do in order to get private pay clients, but why to do it. There is enough advice out there in the therapy marketing world that tells you how to copy what someone else has done. That is not my goal in this group. That's not my goal in the work that I do with therapists. My goal is for you to understand why to do things so that you're empowered to make decisions. You feel confident putting things into action instead of just copying and pasting what others have done and hoping that it works for you. So before we get into what actually to do in your marketing, I want us to have a really clear understanding of what private pay is, why it works, how it's different from taking insurance, so that you know as you go out there and start marketing yourself in 2021, that you're doing it with an understanding of, okay, this is why these things work, or this is why these things don't work. So let's go ahead and get started. We have quite a few faces in here, although you guys are being shy and not saying hello in the comments. That's okay though, I'm just glad you're here. Let's go ahead and dive in. So like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about the strategy before we get into what you do. Really important to first understand what is the private pay decision-making process. It's so important in your marketing to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client. If you're not doing that, and if you're just using your own head or your own heart to do all of your marketing, that's your first problem. You have to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client. So when we think about private pay, and you think about what it is that your ideal client experiences or goes through in deciding to hand over their hard-earned money and pay someone their full fee, whether that's you or another clinician, why does that happen? I want to flip that question around on you and ask you to brainstorm a little bit. Why do you shop at Whole Foods? If you shop at Whole Foods, why do you pay to go to a chiropractor or a naturopath? Why do you splurge on kitchen products at Williams Sonoma? The thing about all of these things, or if there is another splurge that you love to do, there's another way you like to treat yourself, another store you love to shop at, where there's maybe a cheaper alternative, but you go to that one instead, I'll tell you why. It's because you value those things. You value whole, fresh foods. That's why you're willing to buy organic at Whole Foods. You value holistic health. I grew up going to a chiropractor instead of a GP, and my mom paid out of pocket for that for my entire childhood. You value having really high quality tools to cook with. Maybe cooking is your self-care and it's important to you that you have really great high quality tools. The foundation of this is that you value those things. And so the foundation of this training, the foundation of what I want you to walk away with here is that we spend money as humans on the things that we value. And so if you want to be a private pay practice, if you want to market yourself to clients that are willing to pay your full fee, that's not about overhauling your marketing and spending thousands of dollars on a brand or doing any sort of thing. What it's about doing is increasing the way that people value you. Increasing, we call that your perceived value. Increasing how people perceive you and the value that you offer. Because when you increase perceived value, you decrease price resistance. It's why you're willing to pay more at Whole Foods or Williams-Sonoma or Sunglass Hut or wherever it is that you like to shop that you could find a cheaper alternative for. It's because you value those things. And so, yeah, you're willing to pay more because you assume that with increased value is increased quality. That is what I want you to understand. That's the foundation and the red thread of this entire training. Now, one other very important thing to understand before we get into what to do in your marketing is that there is a difference between private pay and insurance clients, and you cannot market to both. You can market to both. You can be a practice that takes insurance and is private pay, but chances are your marketing has to be geared towards that private pay client because they're so different. Now, an insurance client, they are looking for something transactional. They want to come to you and say, hi, do you take my insurance? Great, here it is. I want a cheaper, copay, or I want a cheaper cost, and I want to get therapy from you. I want to check this box, and then I'm on my way. It's transactional. Private pay is relational. People that are willing to pay $150, $175, $200, whatever it is that you charge or whatever you want your full fee to be, the people that pay that are looking for something relational. They're looking for connection with someone, and they're willing to do the work with the right person. But again, they have this money that they have to part with, and in order to part with that, they have to value you or another clinician enough in order to do that. So insurance is transactional, private pay is relational. Now, what I'm going to say here before, just so we're all clear, this is not about the quality of the therapy you provide at all. You offer great therapy regardless of how you take payment. This is simply about how you're perceived by your ideal client. So we'll be very clear on that. Just because you take insurance or you don't take insurance doesn't make you a better or worse therapist, because we know that you're doing wonderful work. So those are the two things I want you to understand before we get into the marketing strategies. Is the private pay decision-making process. This is about increasing the way that people value you and the awesome work you do, and the fact that you are marketing to a different type of person. So if in the past you have been an insurance practice and you're planning to transition out of that, you're going to have to transition your mindset as well to the fact that you are having to connect with people. Connection has to be the red thread in your marketing as opposed to transaction and something that is just a splitting of goods or something like that. So, all right, let's get into what to do in your marketing in order to book more private pay clients in 2021. Number one, this probably isn't going to come as a surprise, and yet it's something that I'm still working with a lot of clients on right this minute, is you need to choose a profitable niche. And if this is like, okay, but I don't want to choose a niche. I want to be private pay, but I can't choose a niche. I'm going to tell you that you're going to have an extremely hard time doing that. Because when you try to attract everyone in your marketing, you end up attracting no one. So think about how general you would have to be on the homepage of your website, say, or in your marketing or your social media to appeal to a client with anxiety and a couple whose marriage is struggling. Because maybe you like doing anxiety, depression, couples infidelity, trauma, phobias, all these types of things. Would any of it actually connect with an ideal client at all? If someone's struggling with anxiety, you're going to talk about being overwhelmed at the thought of like getting through another work day, or feeling uncomfortable in their own skin, like their skin is crawling, or insecurity in their relationships, this anxiety pouring over into them, feeling like they can't trust their partner. Infidelity, they're processing anger, they're processing trauma. They don't know if they can ever, increase intimacy again or get that back. They need to heal like legitimately deep wounds. How could you market to both of those people and truly, truly resonate with them in a way that they value what you do? You would struggle to do that. You would really, really struggle to do that. So choosing a niche is about choosing and claiming a corner of a market and saying, this is what I do. Because here's the thing, we're talking about value. We equate exclusivity with higher quality. It's why you go to Williams-Sonoma where they only sell kitchen things. Because we assume, well, if you only sell kitchen things, you must be really good at kitchen things. If you only do anxiety, your ideal client perceives that as you must be really good at anxiety. If you do anxiety, trauma, couples, all these types of things, all of a sudden that dilutes your expertise, that dilutes your exclusivity, and therefore in their mind, it dilutes your quality. And again, we know that this isn't about your actual quality, it's all about how someone perceives you. Remember, we're putting you in the shoes of your ideal client. That's how they're going to view that. So if you can claim something, an expertise in something, they're going to assume automatically, just because of how us humans work, that you are automatically good at that, and that increases that perceived value. So you have to get extremely comfortable in 2021 not being the right therapist for everyone. You're not going to be the right therapist for everyone. That is okay. That is how you will find your ideal client and book more of them, is if you are comfortable realizing that not everyone's for you, and that the way that you market yourself and the way that you talk about yourself and the areas of expertise that you have aren't going to be the things that every single client is looking for. That's okay. I have turned away clients in my own business who aren't a good fit for me, and realize that that's okay, because the people that are, I'm attracting, right? So it's about getting really comfortable with that, getting really, really comfortable with that, and then going ahead and taking that niche into the rest of your marketing. So once you decide on that clear and profitable niche, then it's time to take it into your marketing, about using those specific examples on your website. So again, if we're talking about infidelity, maybe that is your niche. You can start using those super, super, super juicy examples about healing wounds, increasing intimacy, processing the anger that you feel towards your partner. And all of a sudden you become this you're joining this conversation that your ideal client is having in their head with all of your marketing. You're doing it on your website. You're talking about it in your social media. It's directing everything that you do, because you're talking directly to someone. All of your marketing is all of a sudden targeted to a specific person that you know, and that you know needs your services, and that person feels seen, heard, and understood by you. And that's what builds what we call the know, like, and trust factor. The know, like, and trust factor is we like to spend money on things we know, like, and trust. And so by joining the conversation that's in their head, by showing them that you understand them in your marketing, you build that know, like, and trust factor, and they start to form this connection with you before they even pick up the phone. As they're researching you, as they're reading your Psychology Today profile or your website, they're connecting with you because you're so focused on them, right? On that ideal client, and not everyone else, that they can see themselves actually working with you. So identify that super, super clear and profitable niche. Bring it into your marketing. Next, in 2021, when it comes to networking and when it comes to increasing your visibility, I want you to focus on becoming known as an expert in something. Now, we don't realize this, but we don't spend money with companies that just sell to us, right? We spend money with companies that entertain us, that offer value, that offer some sort of goodwill or something like that. And so really, really focus in your marketing in 2021 on being valuable. Your marketing is not about you, right? This is about putting yourself in the shoes of your ideal client. So offer value. The best way you can show that you're an expert is by proving you're an expert. Write great blog posts about your specialty and your niche. Talk in social media about the things you know your ideal client is experiencing. Give, give, give. That should be the position that you go into the rest of the world. So outside of like your website, when you go into the rest of the world and you start becoming more public with your marketing, think about giving. This is not, well, if I give too much, they're not going to need me. your clients need you, right? And they know that. They know that no matter how many social media posts they read or how many blog posts of yours they read, there's still something you can offer them that they can't get themselves. But by showing them, hey, I'm an expert, hey, I know what you're going through, hey, here are some practical tips to start using in your life, all that you're doing is cementing yourself as the expert that they're looking for in their minds. So start providing value. If you're not yet doing that in any way, if you're not yet putting out content on social media that's super, super helpful, posting blogs, interacting with others and guest blogging, that's something to focus on in 2021, because I really want you to start increasing your visibility in the areas of your expertise. So maybe that means, maybe you specialize in the LGBTQ population. You need to get plugged in with local organizations that specialize and also work with the LGBTQ population. If you work with like super anxious, perfectionist, high performers, then you might need to seek out some of these CEO or professional networks around you. Get creative, and again, you're letting your niche direct where it is that you spend your time, and then offer value to these people. Say, how can I help these people? What's something I know about what these people are struggling with that would show them that I'm an expert? By doing that and by putting out value, by giving, you are showing people, I know what I'm talking about. I'm confident in what it is that I do. And all of a sudden, you're going to establish yourself as an expert, as a memorable expert in the minds of your ideal client that these people are coming into contact with. So think about increasing your visibility in 2021. Just in the same way as there are celebrity therapists out there, there are celebrity everyone, there's celebrity chefs out there. We equate people's visibility with, again, their quality. And so if people are seeing you around, they're seeing you being interviewed on a local news station, they're seeing you speaking in a virtual summit for the LGBTQ organization that they're a member of, they're going to establish and equate that with your expertise and with your niche. And again, this is about value. So that's what we keep coming back with. So become known as an expert in 2021 by increasing your value and giving value away to people, showing people that you are in fact an expert and demonstrating your expertise. Next up, we may or may not realize this, again, when we spend our money, because I want you to think about the own behaviors that you have as a consumer, because that is the easiest way to relate to your ideal client. We have an expectation when we spend more money for a better quality experience, right? So revisit the Whole Foods example. It's a different kind of grocery shopping experience. My husband and I, when we were dating at least, although maybe still kind of, not so much in COVID world, but we would go to Whole Foods just for date night. Because it's a different kind of shopping experience. It's not shopping at Publix or Kroger or any of the other chains out there. There's something about it, right? The decor is different. The ambiance is different. There is an experience that they're creating. The same is true as if you're shopping in the kitchen aisles of Target versus Williams-Sonoma. It's a different experience. So I want you to ask yourself, what experience are you creating for your clients? There's a sophistication, a polish to successful private pay practices when it comes to their website, when it comes to their business cards, when it comes to just the visual way that they present themselves. If someone can see a business card or can see a flyer or can see something tangible or see a social media post, visit your website, and everything feels cohesive, that builds reinforcement and automatically builds trust with people because you're showing people that you are consistent. So if you can bring a level of sophistication and a level of polish to your visuals, you are again going to increase the way that people see you and perceive you. There's a statistic out there that I think over 75% of decisions and initial perceptions about a website are made based on design. So if your website right now isn't conveying the sophistication and the awesome experience you provide your clients, that's another place to spend some time and effort on in 2021, making sure that what you're putting out there matches the value that you're asking people to assign to you. If you're saying, hey, I charge $275 an hour, but your website looks like it hasn't been updated in 10 years, there's a mismatch there, right? Whereas if you can say, hey, I charge $150 an hour or $275, whatever it is that you charge, here's a beautiful website that absolutely is worth that amount, then people are going to agree with you. So bring that sophistication and that experience into your marketing. Be easy to work with. Maybe that means that people can automatically schedule a consultation or schedule their appointments with you through Simple Practice or something like that. I personally chose my therapist because I could just go in and schedule a consultation. She ended up being an awesome therapist. I needed to talk to someone soon. But be easy to work with. Like, make the experience, even after someone engages with you, super, super awesome, because again, private pay people are going to refer more private pay people. So again, if you can provide that awesome experience, not just prior to them reaching out, but after, you're going to continue to reinforce that idea that you're worth the amount that they're charging, and they're going to be way more compelled to bring people to you in the future. All right, the very last thing that I really, 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 really want you to focus on in 2021, and it's something that I work with my clients on a regular basis, and it's not so much doing this or saying this on your website, it's more in your head. You have to own this. If you want to be a private pay practice, you have got to own that. I asked a question in the group this week about why clients choose you over another therapist, and we got some awesome responses. You must know this. You must know why it is that people are going to choose you, your level of expertise, what it is that you offer that others don't, and feel really, really confident in it. Because your clients will sniff out your insecurity. If you're not sure, if you shy away from stating your fees, stating your expertise, talking about how wonderful you are at the work you do, then they will shy away from you. You have to own this. This is what's going to draw people to you, is that confidence. And I'm not a woo-woo person. I'm not a mindset coach, but there is something to be said for you feeling confident in what you do and that infusing itself into your marketing. So practice your niche statement. If you haven't written a niche statement, you haven't gone through the Fill Your Practice formula, that's okay. Get really clear talking about what it is that you do, what your niche is, and how you help people. Practice your consult calls. Practice them. If you have to sit down with your spouse or your partner or a friend to do that, do that. Practice stating your full fee confidently, not shying away from it, not automatically offering a sliding scale, but stating it because you are worth it. And if you don't believe that you're worth it, your clients will not either. That's the last piece of advice I have for you, is that in 2021, you have to own the fact that you are worth this, okay? You are worth this. And if you don't believe that yet, then that's the first place to start. You are worth your full fee. You can charge it. And there are clients out there that will pay it. I know that it's scary and sort of that scarcity mindset that maybe if I decrease my prices, maybe if I just panel with one insurance, then things will be easier. Growing my practice will be easier. And it might be. But you also can build a practice of full fee clients. But first you have to own it, then hone in on that niche. Get super, super, super clear with it. Bring that niche into all of your marketing, into your website, into your networking decisions, into the way that you present yourself. Increase your visibility with your ideal clients. Offer them value that shows them and demonstrates your expertise. And elevate the experience people have with you. Invest a little bit in creating a really clean logo that is used everywhere in your marketing. Make sure that your website feels current and up to date and reflects the great work that you do and the niche that you're in and the expert that you are. Bring that experience into every single interaction clients have with you, and you will begin to establish yourself as this expert, as this person that is just somehow, even if they don't know what it is, you're going to position yourself as a clinician that is somehow different and somehow worth more than the generalists around you. That is what you're capable of. I want you to believe that and take that into the year of 2021. I have worked with probably 80% of my clients this year in 2020 have been private pay, and nearly all of them are at the point that they are turning clients away. So it's possible. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you. It is possible to fill your practice with private pay clients. And if you don't walk away with anything else in this training, if you don't change anything in your marketing in the next 2 weeks, I just want you to know that it is possible and that with some tweaks, you can get there. I hope that that is encouraging to you, because it's the truth and I've seen it happen time and time again. Let's see if we've had any questions come in here as I've been chatting. Thank you for hanging in here with me. Let's see. All right, all right, now the comments are coming in. All right. I work with trans and non-binary clients, which are among the most disenfranchised populations, so I really struggle to justify self-pay at full rates. Kimberly, I hear you on that, and that's why therapists, it's why you are so wonderful, is because you care about that. And that's important to you. And a lot of organizations that take money, brands out there, whether they make toothpaste or whatever, they don't care about that. And so, Kimberly, I think it's incredible, and I think it speaks loads about you as a professional that is important to you. And I think that there's some work to be done around that. Maybe you do have more sliding scale spots than the average therapist, but the fact is that there are trans and non-binary clients that will value you and the help that you can provide them at the level of your full fee. But I also think that this heart that you have, bringing that into your marketing, letting them know that you see them and that is true, and that you want to support them, and you want people to have access to mental health, regardless of that. All of those kinds of things, bring that identity, bring that confidence into your marketing. That's going to be super, super powerful. Let's see. Facebook isn't loading all of my comments for some reason. I apologize. I don't want to miss any questions, and they're not coming in on my live stream here. Facebook is behind a little bit. Okay, you're probably going to hear a... Okay, here we are. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Hi from Philly. All right, so you guys were saying hello. I apologize. I gave you a hard time because they weren't showing up here, but you were saying hello. Hi, everyone. Big relief for us as therapists to just focus on one niche. That's another thing, Cindy. You bring up a great point, is that sometimes choosing a niche can actually be extremely freeing. Maybe not for a brand new clinician. If you're brand new to your practice and just opening up, maybe you're not ready to just hone in on this super, super, super laser focused niche, but I do encourage you to head in that direction. And then as you find out who it is that you really like to work with, that's actually going to free you by allowing you to focus on just a couple of different things. And then if in the future you decide you want to pivot, or maybe you add on an area of expertise, you can do that. So that is a wonderful point. It's hard to know how to tell insurance clients we currently see that we are no longer taking their insurance. Any advice? Cindy, that's a tough one. And again, a conversation that's a really hard one. I don't have any specific tips on how to approach that conversation, but I would remind them as you're having that conversation about ultimately what this is about. Because yes, taking private pay is about you getting paid your full fee. You likely also have some reasons for it, right? Increased privacy, not having to have a diagnosis on your medical records, whatever that is, offering some of education around your decision making, and then reminding them, hey, I care about you and I have great referrals if this isn't a good fit for you. It's about, keeping that goodwill, keeping that relationship one way or another, but also doing a little bit of education about why you've made that decision. I think you'll probably be surprised by the number of people that value you and the work you do already, and might be willing to go ahead and take the jump with you. How do you determine when to offer a sliding scale? That's a really good question, Dahlia. I don't personally coach my clients on a specific approach here. I think it's a clinician by clinician decision. I would be really interested if others have comments on that and how they make those decisions, specifically if you are a private pay clinician, what it is that you do here and kind of what your criteria is, because I know that it differs. Some of my clients don't offer it unless asked. Some do offer it up front based on certain cues. I think you can approach that a couple different ways, and I don't think there's necessarily a right and a wrong. Oh, Kimberly, I'm so glad that made you happy cry. Happy tears on this Friday. We'll save to get our hair done. What a good point, Charlie. We'll save to get our hair done, eyebrows done, but buy that pair of expensive shoes. Exactly. This is about what we value, right? And it's okay if you want to splurge on those things, but it's about showing people you can splurge on therapy and it'll be worth it. Melissa, is trauma too much of a technical term? Looks like that's our last question here. Melissa, no. I don't think that trauma is a technical term. I have had a lot of conversations with clients that do trauma therapy just in the last couple weeks even, but trauma it's a popular specialty, but one of the hard things about being a trauma therapist is, this, not all of your clients know they have trauma. Some of them do. Some of them have experienced a large traumatic event, abuse of some kind, natural disaster, whatever it is, and they want to come in and work on that one thing. But often, as a trauma therapist, your clients come in with like, well, I just feel really anxious, and then you don't find out until 4 months later that they actually do have this trauma past that you can work on. So a lot of times I find that even if you're going to be a trauma specialist, that you're likely, or if that's going to be your niche, that your niche probably has to include something like anxiety or some of the other sort of presenting issues for a trauma client. If you find that some or all of your trauma clients aren't coming in saying, can you help me with my trauma? But instead saying, I know that my past might be affecting what's going on, but mostly I just feel anxious today. You might have to be a trauma and anxiety therapist or something like that. And depending on your area, that's generally a clear enough niche. Julio, great comment. So as far as sliding scale, not until you're meeting your personal financial goals. It's a great point to not begin offering sliding scale until that point. Lee, do you think it is best to be completely branded on social media too, or is that more about the website? I think the more that you can infuse your brand into your marketing, the better. Because anytime people can interact with you and feel like you're consistent, the more you're going to build consistency and trust, right? So if you have a strong brand on your website, that strong brand should also be reflected on your social media. So that if someone, say, let's think about this journey. They find you on Psychology Today. They're like, this sounds like a really good clinician. I like, I'm connecting with her. They hop over to your website. They look at your website. They have a good experience there. And they're like, what are they doing on Facebook? They click over to your Facebook. If visually you're reinforcing yourself along with who you're talking to and who your ideal client is, again, you're just creating sort of that reinforcement and that trust that goes into that know, like, and trust factor we talked about. I'm struggling to find a niche. I specialize in eating disorders, addiction, and anxiety, complex trauma. Can you send the Fill Your Practice model? I definitely need direction. Absolutely, Janice. You can get the Fill Your Practice formula at simplifiedtherapymarketing.com. I will reply to that, so you can just tap the link if you'd like. There's an entire module there on choosing a niche. As someone that specializes in eating disorders, addiction, and anxiety, those seem like three disparate things, but I would guess that there's actually quite a bit of overlap there. And so it's about identifying what the red thread is between those three things. The other thing is that, the niche that you choose depends also on where you live. And we talk about that in the Fill Your Practice formula. If you live in rural Arkansas, you probably can't be an eating disorder. Maybe you could be an eating disorder therapist. It's not going to be quite as easy as if you're in Manhattan, just due to the sheer number of people. So when I say profitable niche, that's not the same for everyone. So Janice, I think with some work, you can certainly get there, and I would be happy to brainstorm with you. Helping clients on their journey through medical illness and cancer, grabbing them for sliding scale thing, super. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Helping clients on their journey to thrive through medical illness and cancer. Like, yes, people that are on a similar journey are so going to resonate with that. Awesome. Janice, let's brainstorm a little bit more here in the comments about what's going on. I love getting to do that, so let's do that. All right, one more question. I have a hard time grasping the idea that full fee clients would pay full fee on a weekly basis. Does anyone have these clients on a long-term basis, weekly or bi-weekly? It's a great question. If you're listening and you are private pay, please feel free to comment there to Susie. Susie, I do know many of my clients see many of their clients weekly, at least to start, and then often if it's a long-term client, we'll switch to bi-weekly. But many of the clinicians that I work with specifically do work on a weekly basis with their private pay clients. I would encourage you kind of, what I'm hearing in that statement. I have a hard time grasping the idea that full fee clients would pay full fee on a weekly basis. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit your clients. Don't limit the way that they value you. If you're offering awesome support on a weekly basis, they will pay for it. They will. And so own that. Own your awesome when it comes to that. All right, this has been so wonderful. A super great way to end the year. I'm still going to be available in the group. If you are catching the replay and you're also wondering something, drop it in the comments. Let's chat. Let's brainstorm. But this has been super fun. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for being a part of this community, for hanging in there in 2020. Thank you for the amazing work that you have done for your clients and for your communities. Now go enjoy a little bit of time off, I hope, in the next couple weeks. Still going to be hanging out in the group virtually, but probably won't see your faces, or you won't see mine until January. So a very happy new year to you. I appreciate each one of you, and I will see you later.